Question 1. Consider a coastal municipality preparing to implement a new color-coded emergency alert system based on ISO 22324, 2015 guidelines. To ensure broad public understanding and adherence, particularly among diverse linguistic and cultural groups, what foundational step is most crucial for establishing effective collaboration with community organizations and stakeholders? Option A. Establishing a dedicated emergency alert hotline staffed by multilingual operators to handle all incoming public inquiries and feedback. Option B. Developing a standardized template for all alert messages that can be universally translated and disseminated through official government channels. Option C. Prioritizing engagement with the largest community organizations, first to leverage their established reach and influence within the general population. Option D. Conducting a comprehensive mapping of all relevant community organizations, identifying their communication channels, key influencers, and existing relationships with vulnerable populations. Correct answer is D. Conducting a comprehensive mapping of all relevant community organizations, identifying their communication channels, key influencers, and existing relationships with vulnerable populations. Explanation. ISO 22324, 2015 emphasizes the critical role of collaboration with diverse community organizations and stakeholders in developing and implementing effective emergency alert systems. The standard advocates for a multi-stakeholder approach to ensure that alert messages are understood, trusted, and acted upon by all segments of the population. This involves identifying key community groups, understanding their communication channels, cultural nuances, and potential vulnerabilities. Establishing clear communication protocols and feedback mechanisms with these groups is paramount for refining alert dissemination strategies. For instance, engaging with local faith-based organizations, neighborhood associations, disability advocacy groups, and ethnic community leaders allows for the tailoring of alert content and delivery methods to reach specific demographics effectively. This proactive engagement fosters community resilience and ensures that the color-coded alert system, as outlined in the standard, is inclusive and equitable. The principle is that a robust alert system is not solely a technical or governmental endeavor, but a community-wide effort built on trust and shared understanding. Therefore, the primary objective of such collaboration is to enhance the reach and impact of emergency alerts by leveraging the existing networks and credibility of community partners. Question 2. When establishing an emergency alert system in accordance with ISO 22324, 2015, which primary determinant dictates the necessary granularity of threat classification and the breadth of dissemination channels to be employed? Option A. The availability of the most advanced communication technologies, regardless of their applicability to specific identified risks or population needs. Option B. Detailed findings of a comprehensive jurisdictional hazard and vulnerability analysis, coupled with clearly articulated, measurable system performance objectives. Option C. The historical frequency of minor public disturbances, irrespective of their potential for escalation or wider impact on public safety. Option D. The preferences of the emergency management agency's leadership for a particular aesthetic in alert messaging and visual design. The correct answer is B. The detailed findings of a comprehensive jurisdictional hazard and vulnerability analysis, coupled with clearly articulated, measurable system performance objectives. Explanation. The scope and objectives of an emergency management alert system, as guided by ISO 22324, 2015, are foundational to its effectiveness. Defining the scope involves identifying the types of emergencies the system will address, the geographical areas it will cover, and the specific populations it aims to warn. Objectives, on the other hand, articulate what the system is intended to achieve, such as timely notification, provision of actionable guidance, or facilitation of evacuation. A critical aspect of setting these parameters is understanding the potential hazards relevant to the jurisdiction, their likelihood, and their potential impact. This requires a thorough risk assessment, considering factors like natural disasters, technological failures, and human-made threats. The objectives must be SMART, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. For instance, an objective might be to achieve a 95% notification rate for a specific hazard within 15 minutes of activation. The system's design, communication channels, and operational procedures are all dictated by these defined scope and objectives. Furthermore, alignment with national and regional emergency management frameworks, such as those established by FEMA in the United States or similar bodies internationally, is crucial for interoperability and coordinated response. The objectives also inform the selection of appropriate alert colors and symbols, as per the standard, ensuring clarity and immediate understanding across diverse audiences. Therefore, a comprehensive understanding of the operational environment and the desired outcomes directly shapes the parameters of the alert system. Question 3. Considering the principles outlined in ISO 22324, 2015 for color-coded emergency alerts, how should the findings from a detailed vulnerability analysis and subsequent impact assessment directly influence the selection of an appropriate alert color and its associated message for a rapidly developing but initially localized seismic event? Option A. The vulnerability analysis's identification of a few isolated industrial facilities with minimal personnel, and an impact assessment that suggests only localized, short-term environmental contamination, would lead to the selection of a color indicating a low threat or advisory status. Option B. The vulnerability analysis's identification of a broad geographical area susceptible to minor tremors, coupled with an impact assessment predicting only temporary service disruptions, would necessitate a color signifying a watch or information level alert. Option C. The impact assessment's quantification of potential structural damage to critical infrastructure and the vulnerability analysis's identification of densely populated residential areas in the immediate vicinity would guide the selection of a color indicating a high probability of severe consequences, prompting a warning level alert. Option D. The impact assessment's projection of widespread power outages and the vulnerability analysis's focus on the resilience of emergency communication networks would dictate a color representing a standby or monitoring phase. Correct answer is C. The impact assessment's quantification of potential structural damage to critical infrastructure and the vulnerability analysis's identification of densely populated residential areas in the immediate vicinity would guide the selection of a color indicating a high probability of severe consequences, prompting a warning level alert. Explanation: the core of ISO 22324, 2015 is the establishment of a standardized system for emergency alerts through color coding. Vulnerability analysis and impact assessment are foundational to determining which colors and associated messages are appropriate for different threat levels. A robust vulnerability analysis identifies the specific assets, populations, and infrastructure that are susceptible to harm from a particular hazard. The impact assessment then quantifies the potential consequences of that hazard on these identified vulnerabilities, considering factors like loss of life, economic disruption, and environmental damage. The severity and scope of the assessed impact directly inform the alert level. For instance, a low-impact scenario affecting a limited area might warrant a watch or information level alert, typically represented by a less intense color. Conversely, a high-impact scenario with widespread and severe consequences would necessitate a warning or imminent threat level alert, using a more urgent color. The standard emphasizes that the selection of alert colors and their associated meanings must be directly tied to the demonstrated or anticipated severity of the threat and its potential impact on the population and critical systems. This ensures that the alert system is both informative and actionable, facilitating appropriate protective measures and response coordination. The process is iterative, with ongoing monitoring and reassessment of the situation, potentially leading to changes in alert status and color coding.